Welcome back to another Christmas content advent calendar video. Thank you once again for joining me at this festive time of year. And speaking of festive time of year, that Christmas food. Let me tell you, I'm a big old fan of that. And actually, one thing I do love to do at this time of year is photograph that Christmas food, because you get all kinds of nice stuff, mince pies, maybe a Christmas hot chocolate, mulled wine, Christmas puddings, all kinds of stuff, savory stuff as well. It's not all just about the sweet stuff, savory stuff as well. But what a great time to talk about food photography and how we can photograph specifically Christmas food, because there's a lot of it and someone's got to photograph it, so it may as well be us. Now, there's three things you need to think about straight off the bat when you're talking about food photography, and especially Christmas food photography. Number one is the background. Now, whether that is the surface, if it's a top-down photo, the surface that your food is going to be on, the texture, the color, what it's going to be made of, all that kind of stuff, or literally the background. If it's not straight down, if you're talking about shooting where you will have a background in view, do you have something Christmassy, especially if it's a Christmas food shoot? Christmas trees, lights, tinsel, all that kind of stuff can really help sell it. Now, that may be slightly out of focus, but it's still important to get that right. That's the first thing you need to think about. The second thing you need to think about is lighting. How are you going to light this photo? For me, I just use a continuous light with a nice softbox over the front of it so that I can get nice soft light. I'm actually using it now on me, onto my subject. But if you don't have something like that, if you want to keep the budget relatively low, you can use window light. You just need to position your food, your surface, and then your food near to a window. That's still going to give you nice directional light, especially this time of year where the sun never gets that high in the sky. It's going to give you nice directional light onto your food, which can work really, really well. Obviously, natural, normal daylight has a lovely kind of look to it anyway, and it's generally very soft and diffused if it's coming through a window. The third thing you need to think about straight off the bat is what angle you want to shoot your photo at. Now, this is going to be determined by what is the most interesting part of the food. Is it the top? Is it what's inside? Is it seeing different layers? What is the most interesting thing to actually photograph when it comes to looking at this food? Generally speaking, you can shoot 3 angles. Of course, you can shoot anything you like, but 3 angles is generally what I'll think about when I go to shoot food. Either top down. Now that means I'm going to be having the surface as my background. The top of the food is going to be the interesting part. Whatever is facing upward is going to be the most interesting part of the food. You could go for a 45-degree angle, so kind of this kind of thing. Now that means you're getting a little bit of the top, a little bit of the side. The surface is really important because you're still going to see a lot of that, but you also need to think about the background behind the food as well. And then finally, you could shoot side on. Now this is great for, if you want to see layers of food, maybe a lasagna, you want to see something cutting into a Christmas pudding, something like that. This way you need to think about the background again, because that's going to be hugely visible. The surface is still important, but now it's less important than the background, which is the main thing which is going to be surrounding that food. Like I say, the easiest way to work out what kind of angle you want to shoot this at is simply to think about what is the most important part of the food you want to show off, and then use the angle which highlights that best. Now, next up, once you've decided on the angle, you need to decide on set dressing. How do you want to present this piece of food? So for example, mince pies, you might want to have bits of ribbon, pine cones, all kinds of stuff, Christmas lights, tinsel, whatever it is, Christmassy stuff around the set, kind of draped creatively, artistically around the set, which just help to kind of accentuate the feel, the vibe that you're going for with this photo. When I've done previous food stuff in the past, it really depends on what goes well with that food. When we did a Mexican hot pot, we did bread, we did spices, we did all kinds of stuff like that all around, a tea towel draped over in one corner. When we've done mince pies in the past, we've had ribbon, pine cone, all that kind of stuff as well. So whatever you're photographing, let's say it's a Christmas hot chocolate, you might want to think about what else goes with that. So let's say you've got the hot chocolate itself, you've got the mug, you might want to sprinkle some chocolate kind of powder on there to really accentuate the chocolatiness of it, especially you've got cream and marshmallows, you really want to accentuate that chocolatiness. What else goes with the hot chocolate? How can we accentuate the chocolatiness, where we could sprinkle some marshmallows around. We could break up some chocolate and pop it around, maybe dark chocolate that's gonna look very kind of fancy. Or we could have cookies next to it, something that goes with it. We can have some Christmassy bits dotted around to kind of accentuate the Christmas vibe of it. It depends a little bit on the kind of vibe and the feel you want to get from your photo as well. Do you want to accentuate the food, the chocolate here, or do you want to accentuate the Christmas feel? Which one's more important? That's how you can determine how you want to dress your set. You want to achieve nice balance in your photo with regards to the different corners. You want a situation where if the photo was literally, this is a bit weird, but if the photo was flat, just a flat object, that you could balance it on something and no one part of it would be heavier than another part. That's a great way of thinking about it when you try to consider balance within your photo. In terms of editing, you might want to just accentuate one part of the photo. Whatever the subject is, you might want to lighten that slightly and darken other areas of the photo, just to really make that one particular part pop. Make sure the viewer's eye is drawn to that part of the photo. So throughout the whole Christmas period, it's a great time to just bring out the camera, and you don't have to bring out lights and all the stuff. You can literally just place things closer to a window, get a nice surface, pop them closer to a window and snap away. Get some really nice photos. It's a great way of doing it. It's a great way of enjoying this food and getting some really nice different kinds of photos without having to go out into the cold and the wet and whatever it is outside in the dark a lot of the time. It's a great photographic kind of thing to do throughout this winter period, especially at Christmas when we've got all this lovely food. Let me know any thoughts you have down in the comments about all of this. Do you love taking pictures of food at Christmas? Do you hate it? I'd love to know your thoughts down in the comments. Of course, there's a full list of all the equipment used for this video, for all the photos down in the description, so you can go and check that out for yourself. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow for the next video in our Content Advent Calendar. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.